I was, kind of just to reiterate, or just to go over the events. On the 24th of January, which was the day before today, or the night before today, I was at Walmart in Roseville, and I spoke to a person there that asked if she could assist me in the asked if they could assist me in the electronics department. So while we were discussing what I was looking for, a little HDMI cable for my camera, I decided to go ahead and let them know that I use the cameras away from my apartment, and got into how, it's not a very nice place to live, and it has, issues, to say the least. So then I decided to take the opportunity to discuss my blog, and that I'm the highest Christian, the number one. And so while I decided that, I mentioned that I have evidence and other information on my blog, and I let them scan my QR code. I have a QR code that I have for my blog, and I just wear it on my backpack, and sometimes I put it on my trailer, and then that way people can scan it if they want. And I have it with my x.com name also, Monster Money, and that can bring them to the blog from the links I have there. So with that, I decided to discuss one of my blog segments, and that segment was the receipts that I got from the store we were at, where I have a blog called The Saints Targeted Individuals, Modern Day Targeted Individuals, Keys to the Kingdom. And so I go through it and edit it once in a while, and one of the images in there, I commented, that it was interesting that the numbers on the clock and the numbers, in the image could all make up the 1009 and 1005 apartment number that I lived in that building. And so saying that I used the word interesting, I thought, okay. I also mentioned that it was 6 sets of 6 days in the 6th month of the year. 6th month of the year, six sets of 6 days after I moved out of 1005 and moved in to 1009. So both of those numbers in the same day. Okay? Both of those numbers in the same day. I moved out of one and into the other. Both of those sets of numbers could be used to make both of those those apartments just from that one image. All the numbers in that image, from the clock and the temperature, you know, the typical screen banner items in a news story, could be used to make both of those numbers. And it aired 6 sets of 6 days after I moved in, out of one and into the other. And it was the 6th month. There was another 6 besides it being the 6th month. So it equaled out to be 666. And that seems to be another common theme that they use when, when creating some of these images that they use to, for whatever reason, that I've gathered as evidence as crimes against me by these, established platforms. And so since that, I went to the store, and I got a receipt that had the same number. It was 15900. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. The first one, I thought, okay, that's something. So the very next day I went back to the store and I got another one with the same numbers. So I said, okay, now that's more like a sign. That's right there, fairly obvious. When I posted that, I put in a scripture, concerning it. Because I took the image from my Saints Modern Day Targeted Individual blog and I pulled it out. I pulled a copy out and I started a new blog called God is in the Details. I have the receipts. So at first I posted that in the Saints blog. So I posted the receipts in the Saints blog and I commented that that I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So I put in Revelation 23, if I'm not mistaken, and I went with those 2 receipts. So okay, I put the content in the Saints blog at first, and then I put in the scripture, about being the beginning and the end. And I left it at that, pretty much. I said, God is not to be outdone. And then I went into the matter of the numbers on the receipt, being the same 2 days in a row. They had a common number, the number 10 on for sure on the first receipt. The number 10 was very prevalent, and so both receipts the number 10 was prevalent, and on the end number of those receipts was 242, and 242 is how many times the number 10 shows up in the Bible. I said, okay, this is God, and this is the evidence for people who are of little faith, who don't necessarily believe when they see a sign or wonder possibly of another sort. So I posted it, and I said, okay, here's something for the possibly non-believer or the little faith, and for those of little faith. And I added the scripture, Revelation, because there were two receipts with the same numbers. I am the first and the last, the beginning and the end, or the Alpha and the Omega, rather. And so I pretty much left it at that, right? The only other receipt that I posted on my blog was one from last year, the last receipt of the year, at that same Walmart, with Rachel, right? Rachel's a very biblical name. With the comment that I've been making about the person at Walmart that I told about my blog and went into detail about the receipts and what I considered it meant, and we went into detail about that a little bit, and so I go around and I get a couple new towels, for my travels if necessary, and get some cough drops, to kind of ease the throat a little until it gets better. And I got some meat, because I was running low. So I got those things. I'm not sure if I got anything else. I got the cough drops, the towels, the meat. Not sure if I got anything else. I'll have to look at the receipt. So by the time I got checked out, after I just got through talking to that person in electronics about the 159 receipts and how it came from that store and how God has got his hand on my life and how I'm the #1 Christian, after all that, I go and check out, and 1590 are the numbers on my receipt, are the last numbers on my receipt. That's what my change came to. So I went back and I talked to the person in electronics again, and I showed them. I said, these are the numbers that I talked about. And they were certainly interested, to say the least. So, and that whole thing was just about being a witness. And to the me being the highest Christian. It was just the entire conversation was about those receipts being a witness from God. The previous ones, I mean, it even went in stages, with the first one, then the second, then the third, and then the fourth. 4 receipts. And, you know, in a row. Not, you know, not, well, I won't say in a row, but, you know, consecutive. They at pertinent times. And, so, you know, what I did was, when I showed her that, when I showed the person that, they really paid attention. They really knew, you know, they really looked like they understood that just happened after we had that talk, and, you know, they understood. You know, not sure how much, but they did not seem like they were skeptical. I'll say that. So, you know, we got that established, and I posted that in the blog with the other receipts. And the 23rd, the day before that, I was talking to the person at Walmart in Bloomington who just commented on the meat in my basket, telling me they were high protein diet. And so that person happened to be a female. So once again, I don't pay much attention to that. So I mentioned to that person that I knew of a prostate supplement that worked well. And that person, female, woman, told me that her husband was taking something for their prostate, impliedly from a doctor, and asked if I would show them where they could find the supplement if it was available at that store. So we went to the area where that sort of thing is, and there were some there, and they took a box with them. And that was a female. So once again, the words of knowledge, you know, come to me, and I have to obey. You know, it's not, you know, it's the spirit. And of course you don't want to offend that person, which I didn't do, that I know of. And so, you know, these are the signs that I do on a regular basis, always. I say always. And I do them, especially here in the secular state, where they've built themselves up quite a system they seem to treat it as just, entertainment. They don't appear or seem as if they actually care one way or another, unless it puts money in their pocket, which is one of the reasons that I don't question that they just kept me poor and stole my ideas and inventions all these years. So when I went on CTM, I discussed being the goose that laid the golden egg. And that is one of the characteristics that I've taken as this highest Christian. They have kept me poor, oppressed me, done all these terrible things to me, and at the same time stolen everything they could get. Almost like David and Bathsheba, where Uriah was, innocent, and even though there was, war or a battle taking place, Uriah was put into the front lines where, it may have been, more of a challenge. And as it was, David ended up with Bathsheba, and that was a bit of a thievery type situation, but just like in my case, they just put me in a position where I'm out of the way, and they can steal what rightfully belongs to me. And in that, my battle is not physical, it's spiritual. It's what they do to me is physical. So, but that is not what I'm called to do. That's not my battle of, that's not my spiritual battle. And so they have done what they did to many saints in the past. They've done it to me. And if they do it to me, they could possibly do it to everybody else. If I'm not mistaken, there was a comment that Jesus made similar to that. And so, at this point, I'm just trying to kind of let people know I'm the number one Christian. I am the number one Christian. I'm the highest. That these mega churches and these people that are being followed on the internet and anywhere else are just, they've played their part. They've done their part. That's over now. They need to start handing things over to me quickly. And that's why I say I don't question that some of them even knew that I was who I say I am a long time ago, and have just ignored it so that they could continue to have their established platform. The soapbox platforms, some of them. So, that's why I say, their day is done. They have robbed God's people long enough. And the people of the world, they're mine too. They just have to, possibly be made aware of who I am and what I represent, which is, which is what I do. I prove that. They just need to accept it. As God proves it. They just need to accept it. So if you think, if you question that you're, that these people's champions, as I call them, have not known who I am, I can say to some degree that they do know who I am, many of them, and they have been keeping that, out of their focus, potentially, so that they don't have to give up their, like I say, their ill-gotten gain. I have never asked anybody for anything. I don't drive a big car. I don't do those things. Not that that matters. There's some degree of significance, but not to me. I do what I do. I am who I am. Like I said, God chose me. I chose who I am. And what I wear. So for that, I decided I was going to be true to God, first and foremost. Not to man and that sort of thing. And I don't bow to their doctrine, which they do, use against people. And so I have not bowed the knee to Baal.